Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast here at Fajiram and Rabi. Today with us, we have Xenia Arora, who has secured rank 156 in the UPSC Civil Services Examination 2024. Hi, Xenia. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, let's begin with knowing something about yourself and the journey.
So, as you said, my name is Xenia Arora. And I think if I was to introduce myself, I should go back to my roots. I studied at Sanskriti School, post which I did my bachelor's in economics and political science from St. Stephen's College, University of Delhi. After that, I joined Hindustan Unilever as a management trainee in their human resources division. And I think somewhere along the line in all of this, I realized that I really wanted to take the plunge towards civil services. And apart from that, I really like to read. That is definitely a hobby. Public speaking and just ensuring that, I'm up to something productive. So I think that's a bit about myself.
Okay. So, what were those turning points, if they were at all, which led you to this preparation of civil services?
So back in college, as you know, St. Stephen's has a rather long and versatile list of alumni. Having seen all of that, having interacted with a few alumni, and even back at home, I realized that there's a lot of social impact that one can create whilst doing whatever it is that they're doing in life. So I took that plunge through, say, the societies in college, etc. And I realized that before concretizing on sitting for the civil services examination, I should really, diversify my own portfolio and see what really works well for me as not just a career trajectory, but also something that really satisfies me.
Yes.
So to take that plunge from satisficing to satisfying, I opened my own organization. I tried my, stint at the corporate sector at Hindustan Unilever. And having done all of this, I realized that the best place where I can, really use my humble skill set would be perhaps in the services itself, which is when I think I took that, turning point, so to say. So I think it was more of a matured aspiration than per se having those eureka moments in life.
Oh, that's really great. And since you mentioned that you have also worked in the HUL, right? The Hindustan Unilever. So, a very natural question that comes to my mind is how did you strike that balance between the preparation, okay, which is really tiring at times, demanding, and your job? So, kindly tell us something about it.
I think it's very important to stay grounded during the preparation, and grounded not in terms of humility, but in terms of your motivations. So, one thing that was always very clear to me was the vision and the motivation I had for myself. Say 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever works for everybody. For me, it was 10 years down the line. And I had that on my phone. That's the wallpaper right now, too, and on my desk as well. So I think that motivation, if that's clear for you, all kind of hell will break loose, but sometimes you manage to stay afloat in even the most torrential waters. So I think it's the motivation. And secondly, in terms of practicality, taking out that time in, even the smallest of groups, say for example, when you're having your lunch break, in the morning, in the evening, then, giving up on partying outside, for example.
Absolutely.
All of this sounds very easy to do, but sometimes it really, it's very difficult to stay afloat in two boats all at once. So it gets tiring, but if you have it in you, if you really push forward with all your grit and might, I think eventually, if it has to, it will work out.
Balance is possible then, right? Okay, so now let's start talking about the preparation journey of yours. So, beginning with the prelims, right? If I'm not wrong, then you were not able to clear prelims in the very first time.
Yes.
And post that, we face a lot of self doubts, and at times we also try to, you know, think of doing something else and completely abandoning this dream of civil services and all. So, how did you prepare this time? What actually worked for you for prelims per se?
I think while I was writing my prelims for the first time, during those 2 hours, I had realized that I had not put in my best. And even before going in, I knew that I hadn't given it my best. We all come with this, baggage. I wouldn't really call it baggage because sometimes it's positive as well. That you can do it. I mean, if everybody is doing it, why not me? So I went with that attitude. I was very fresh out of college and on a very high horse. It was a very humbling experience that year's prelims, and it taught me that unless you put in the hard work, unless you go through it, like every single second of your life depends on it. Um, for me, it was that way. I had to make it that way because that is when I was able to give it my full. I was able to put in those 11, 12 hours. I was able to, really just understand the concepts, look at life around me very differently. So, for example, if you're studying any mission, if you don't understand the practicality behind it, you will not forge forward. So वो कहते हैं ना रट्टे मार के
जी।
प्रीलिम्स नहीं निकलता है
बिल्कुल
तो फर्स्ट टाइम में आई थिंक दैट इज द मिस्टेक आई मेड आई ब्रश थ्रू थिंग्स वेरी सुपरफिशियली and that kind of superfluous knowledge never helps is what I deduced from that prelims experience. So conceptual clarity is what I worked on. Second was I used the previous year questions as templates.
Okay, very
Yes, so you reverse engineer the questions and try to understand thematically where the prioritizations really lie. So that kind of mapping, I think secondly was very important. Thirdly, solving as many mocks as possible. I mean, I'm sure I haven't solved 70, 80 or something like that, but among my friends and myself, we used to exchange a number of questions or kind of go through explanations together. And it really opens your mind when you're discussing it with somebody and you're solving too many questions. So many dimensions are being unfolded. So all of that, I think, came together and really helped me forge forward in prelims. And one more thing I think I did wrongly in my first attempt was I remember going through only current affairs.
Okay.
So that is never an ideal thing to do, which I realize now in hindsight. And that year also I realized. So this year, as I said, focus on NCRTs, focus on static syllabus, and then kind of using current affairs as a prioritization matrix for your tracking. I think that is a very massive differentiator.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And would you like to share something about the importance of CSAT?
Oh yes, why not? So CSAT was also a very humbling experience in 23. I did not fail it, but even then I knew that there's a lot that needs to go into that as well. I am not naturally good at mathematics, but comprehension for some reason felt like my forte because I've taken other examinations as well. Seemed like my area. But even there, having gone through papers, I realized that practice becomes important because in those last 10-15 days, the race is that you put yourself in that mindset. So for CSAT, the game changer for me in my second attempt, in 24, was that I really put myself in that mindset. Har roz, sham ke time, I would sit with one previous year question paper and solve it in real life circumstances.
करते थे
Yes. And उसको बिल्कुल उसी mindset से देना and then going over the solutions अच्छे से try to understand what exactly was it, that twitch that you have in your mind कि नहीं ये लग रहा है but ये हो सकता है in comprehension especially. So that mindset becomes important. You need where you need to stop. Sometimes intuition works for some people because it's backed by that kind of rigorous solving that they might have done earlier. Sometimes it is that second call, that that second guessing that they're doing while they're feeling. Sometimes it works well. For me it was the former. Intuition works best for me.
Okay.
So I realized that after I had done those simulations in the last 10-15 days.
So simulation is actually helping you
In-
know yourself better,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And in terms of LR and Quant, I think the game changer is again conceptual clarity, because I realized that if you go through formulas, आपने रट लिया, सब कुछ कर लिया, I don't think the commission is going after that.
Yes.
You need to understand the logic behind the formulas, and then when you're able to apply them, then your scores start skyrocketing. So I think that is also one of the things I did differently. I solved a lot of numericals, as many as I possibly could in that last 1 month. And even before that, I think I started my CSAT preparation for Quant and LR sometime in December itself. So 5-10 questions daily I was doing from December till the date of the exam, which was 15th of June, I think, sometime in June. So I think those were a few differentiators. Hard work. For me, it was complete hard work and smart work in the last 10-15 days.
Oh, very well put. So let's move towards mains now. We all know that mains is actually the big game here and it carries so much weight. So, how were you preparing for it, especially when it comes to various GS papers and then the role which the answer writing plays? So, how did it work for you? What you did right? Kindly let us know.
So I think three main important things in my case. First, you mentioned answer writing. Second was collation of points within those 7 minutes. Again, flowing from the first only, answer writing. And third was frameworking. So the first one, answer writing. So I hadn't really prepared for mains before my prelims because I, for some reason, felt that that is my biggest hurdle.
Okay.
I hadn't even imagined sitting for mains if I was to put it that way. Somewhere in the background, yes, of course, everybody does it. I was preparing my optional, etc. But that mindset wasn't there.
Okay.
When I cleared my prelims, that is when I realized कि अच्छा अब ये भी करना है. So my only option, and I would say the right option that I did pick, was doing a lot of answer writing with my friends, and then daily, you have daily answer writing exams and number of places, any of them, just getting in that grit of writing daily. Because yes, more than the, of course, content is extremely important, but most people have decent level of content.
Yes.
What becomes a game changer is then that when an indirect question is thrown at you and you are able to answer it better than the others because you have that acumen and skill to make things at that moment, create that diverse ecosystem of points whilst that 7 or 11 minutes ka hustle is pushing you, the time is moving.
Totally.
I think answer writing is where everything becomes different, because the more you've done it, the better you will be in those 7 to 11 minutes. And also in the mains paper, I did realize it actually, because as I told you,
Yes.
I left around 80 marks of questions. 80.
Oh.
Yes. So that is not something to push forward here. But again, that answer writing might have differentiated my answers, to the point that people really thought that, okay, the invigilator might have thought, okay, she knows something about some things.
Some, really good quality answers you would have given.
I genuinely hope so. That's how they felt. So that is what I push forward with. Second, as I mentioned, collation of points in that moment. That happens when I'm a very avid reader of the newspaper. And secondly, I don't read just one newspaper. I've diversified that as well.
All right. Throughout your journey?
Mostly, yes. Even before that, I used to read the newspaper.
All right.
And I've been a voracious reader otherwise as well. So, but nobody, when they're reading jolly well in their 10th or 11th class, they never do that. But I had my books in my shelf. So what I did was I would take around half an hour to 1 hour with one book, understand and deduce कि इसमें से क्या material किस paper में I can use कर सकते. So in my GS2 answers, for example, I would quote Aurobindo Ghosh ji, or mostly things that people would not be doing, because in my case it was more of it was more of diversification of my answers.
You made your answers look quite different from what perhaps
maybe I wasn't doing this consciously. Maybe it was just in that rut because everybody's like, how do I differentiate? I was in that rut rather than consolidating my base perhaps.
Okay.
So I banked on that base from prelims, and then ACE time the 3 months, because that is the only time I had for my ACE, and I had to prepare my optional completely again. So all of that was happening, and in that consolidation phase, I realized, in hindsight, I realized that I did end up doing a lot of things that very few people might have done. So you would not be reading Shakespeare before your exam. I was doing that. I would not be reading Rabindranath Tagore ji. I was doing that.
Okay.
So I was doing all sorts of weird things before the exam, but I did consolidate them. And while I was consolidating, I was again going back to previous year questions which already means mein appear ho chuke hain. Okay, I can use this there. This concept of integral humanism can be used here, and all of that really created a very multi-dimensional, I would say. And
it was not weird. Okay, you were doing everything strategically.
So and keeping all of that in mind, I think you really end up, versatility to definitely aati hai. Apart from that, your personality changes a lot. So mains changed me a lot. I learned so many new things. I started viewing the world so differently that even during the interview, we'll see that later.
That improves.
All of that really changes you. So in the past 1 year, I have changed completely because I've read so much about so many people and from so many autobiographies, etc., that in your answers वो definitely धीरे धीरे reflect होने लग
होता
जाता
है।
है. I'm not sure क्या question रहा होगा, but
अच्छा।
from the papers that I see where I did that on a higher pedestal, it did reflect in my marks.
Yes, and it
So
paid off, right?
yes, definitely.
Now I was looking at your scorecard and I could see that you've scored really well in GS2 and GS4. Right. So would you like to tell us that what was the score and how you prepared for it?
Yes, definitely. So GS2 again, what I just mentioned really helped. Second was frameworking. Third was thematically understanding where the questions generally come from, the areas. So again, current affairs played a very important role. The very first question was on simultaneous elections, and everybody should have ideally prepared for that. And then your value addition for that should have already happened. In my case, also, I think I had one quote from Aurobindo Ghoshji itself on democracy ki life breath. I'm forgetting the exact quote. So that is how I started that answer. So basically, your theme should be very clear. The low hanging fruit should not be the one that you leave.
Okay.
Thirdly, so much answer writing had gone into the other papers. GS2, I did not manage to do a lot of answer writing because it overlaps with my optional as well.
Okay, that's a
Yes,
plus.
which it worked for me, but it generally you should do as much as possible for GS2 as well. So 2 weeks before the actual exam, I had written a mock test, and that is when I realized that GS2 बहुत dwindle हो गया है मेरा. I was very scared, honestly, even after the paper, because I was like that my last question, again, I left that, could not complete.
But you managed to score 123 or so?
Yes,
Oh, that's a
I
great
got
score.
praise. So sometimes I imagine, it would have been so much better if I had completed all of
Yeah,
those.
yes,
But
those thoughts,
everything happens for
crossing your mind.
so keeping all of that aside, the low hanging fruit, thematically preparing, value addition for those low hanging fruits.
Okay.
Frameworking I've already mentioned. Then again, source diversification was there, but I went very high in those last 2 weeks on my base. So I went through Lakshmikant once. That really helped because in the paper I was able to put a lot of articles and case law that is given in Lakshmikant. Apart from that, I think unfolding dimensions again in this paper was very, very high in my case.
Okay.
And the questions were also such that I think public charitable trusts appeared, if I'm not wrong, in GS2. If you knew, you knew. If you did not know, you did not know. I had read about them perchance in a newspaper article, so I knew 5-6 of them. And I also knew 1 or 2 theories related to cooperatives, decision-making approaches, etc., which are very important in public charitable trusts. And then delivering last mile services through such organizations, NFPs, NGOs, PCTs, etc. All of that I had seen, and apart from that, I had also worked with some in my own personal capacity. So I knew the diametrics, उसमें क्या क्या चलता है क्या नहीं चलता है, and I think I was able to answer it to a decent level.
So first hand experience se bhi aap
Also really helped. Yes, again a Slumdog Millionaire question for me perhaps. And then there were ethics related questions in governance ka form. I think there was one on the image of public servants and how it is very crucial to gain public trust. That is also a very mind-boggling question, and it was for me. It took me probably 9 minutes to write that answer. And so again, answer writing really helps in such questions as well. Apart from that, I think just an open understanding of the polity and constitution of India, that is extremely important. So I had done 2-3 iterations of DD Basu.
Okay.
That out of fun in college itself. I had gone through a lot of handbooks. I was an avid reader of Granville Austin. Constitutionalism in general really, captured my fancy, if you will. So I think all of this really
helped you.
in my personal case.
And coming to GS4 ethics.
So in GS4, I could not complete 1.5 case studies. But I think what worked for me, again, as I mentioned, all of that gyan that I just gave about diversity, that really helped in GS4. And then having a clear understanding of what is the end goal of whatever the government is doing. So for example, Mission Karm Yogi is very important. And as a public servant, one is supposed to understand the vision that the Honorable Prime Minister had before he brought that to the fore. Then understanding what the Capability Commission does, etc., etc. Once you understand the basics, you understand the practicality of the mission, you will be able to write a better answer than most people because you have that clarity. And in this paper, I realized that so my ethics marks also were dwindling before the actual
Okay.
paper, and I was a bit nervous about it.
Mm.
Um, but in hindsight, I realized that conceptual clarity in most questions, in case studies, having, putting yourself in the shoes of the person who they are talking about, epistemic humility, what we call it. If you can envision that, if you're standing in an Naxal area by yourself, I did stop in all questions for 30 seconds and पूछा मैंने खुद से कि अगर मैं ही होती वहाँ पर फिर क्या होता? Would I fire at those people? There was a question. This would I not? What are better ways to do it? And this becomes even better if you've read about such experiences, real life experiences. And there are a lot of experiences like this, especially in the ones that I mentioned. So there was one, I think, on medical negligence, not medical negligence, but something related to that. I had read about it. There were a lot of news articles this year about it as well. So if you've done all of that, if you've imagined yourself in people's places, if you've understood what role each and every value that is mentioned, the peptic values of Karma Yogi itself, what they really mean, what proactive means. Proactive does not mean just only getting up early in the morning, or just thinking that you want to help the country, or thinking that you want to help, say, whoever it is. But it is taking that plunge, going outside, looking at people, empathizing, and then moving that towards compassion, right?
Yes.
And once you're able to take that transition before the exam itself, I think it really helps you clarify within the exam, क्योंकि वो इतने dimensions इस बार उन्होंने पूछे. One, for example, is BNS. There was a question on this. So being able to relate that, I think it took me around 11 minutes to write that answer. So taking that back to your ancient values of India and the civilizational values.
Yes,
of India.
there was a question.
Yes, so there's a book on Bharatvarsh that I had read. It's still lying at, I'm forgetting the author's name at this point of time. So I started that answer with the Chikmagalur, area. There was a story anecdote related to it. Then there are a lot of inscriptions that talk about Gram Sabhas, and the plea bargaining is also something that we did have earlier. Then you have Sanghas in India. How did their judicial system work? Then there were a lot of guilds in India. We read about it in NCRT. If you just research these small things, they come back to you in that answer. Because
You applied all your other GS papers.
that is why it took me 11 minutes, and then
Really, what is the answers you see? Say what you were talking about.
so that is how I tried to phase things out. But again, I think those are the few things that.
Well, this is really interesting.
And one more thing in GS4, because you don't have time. इनमें GS3, 2, 3, 4 के लिए बिल्कुल time नहीं होता है, because essay, if it didn't go well, you're overthinking it. Yes. So that mindset needs to change. That okay, even if it's completely bad, you've left 5 questions, just leave it. It's past. You can't do anything. कितना ही सोच लोगे, क्या ही फर्क पड़ जाएगा.
जी.
Move forward. So in GS 2, 3 and 4, you need to have 30 to 40 pages notes ready for you. So in my lunch break, my exam center was next to Tihar jail. So the internet wasn't working. That was another thing that helped me, because I already had things ready. I wasn't searching them up, or it wasn't on my Google Drive. So quickly going through them, and then just keeping calm. Because what happens is, in GS1, even though things worked well there as well, I was very nervous, and till the last moment I was going through my notes कि कुछ भी चला जाए दिमाग में. Please don't do that.
Sure.
In GS 2, 3, 4, have your 30-40 pages notes ready. Just one flip, 1 hour maximum it should take. Do that. Enter the examination hall with a smile. Write your paper. जो हुआ जैसा होना था. Fate has decided it for you. कर्म ठीक किया है, बाकी वो अब भगवान पर छोड़ दो. So that is the mindset that I had to cultivate in myself post GS2, because I realized I will mess up the other 2 papers if I continue with all of this. So I think those are also 2 things that in GS4 at least really helped me.
So this helped you out. Good, great practical knowledge and wisdom you're imparting. I think we can move towards your optional now, okay, where you've scored well, right? So your optional is PSIR.
Yes.
All right. And how did you prepare? And again, what different did you do here? Kindly let us know about it.
So I have a background in political science, and international relations is something that I really, really find very interesting. So in political science part of it, I went back to some of my college notes. Again, the preface to this is that those 3 months were the ones where I actually made my notes for the first time. So in those 3 months, I would say 1.5 months went into political science and international relations only. which is also not recommended. Kindly don't do that to yourself. I wrote frameworks. I did not write answers in political science
Okay.
till I think the last 1 or 2 weeks, honestly,
Oh.
which is again not recommended. The first iteration that I did 2 weeks before, my professor was very kind to check my first copy and the only copy I wrote.
Okay.
He told me that your English is a bit too, it's very difficult to understand it. So please make it simpler. Yeah. And second, he asked me to answer the why of the question. So most of the time what happens is we just put out what we know.
No.
And I forgot to mention this in GS. The why is the most important part. The context setting is the most important part. And in political science, at least, I think that really helped me. That advice really piqued my interest. And also, while writing, I had built this contour that is this really answering the question? Why am I mentioning this basically? If it is not answering it directly, ekdam bullseye mein nahi hit ho raha, don't mention it. So I had created that contour even though I was too late at it. You might have scored even better. ठीक है, बहुत ही अच्छे हैं. I am happy considering it was only 3 months. But that is also something that you need to be exceptionally well at. That you're answering only the why and sticking to the demand.
Okay.
I had made notes in those 1.5 months only. I picked up a lot of toppers' notes, their answers. A few of my friends were very heavy on going on answer writing from the toppers' copies. वही question देखा, लिखा उसका answer, and then compared it to the topper.
Okay.
I did not do that much. I created frameworks. I understood, okay, this is what I'm not mentioning, this person has mentioned, or I am mentioning, they haven't. Is it even relevant, etc. So that frameworking I definitely did do. Apart from that, previous year questions में themes one of my friends had made. So going after those themes and understanding ki what is the universe of that particular theme that UPSC is asking questions from. So that also really helped, because again, contour setting very, very important insofar as option is concerned, especially PSIR, because it is boundless.
Oh.
It is happening every single day. Newspapers are full of things that you can mention in all answers. So you need to know where you need to put that full stop. That and again, toppers notes, as I mentioned, I made my own notes from 5-6 toppers, and unhi se then I curated my own content.
Okay.
For international relations, the only thing I'd say I did was that I made a Google document, so that would open on the left side, and on the right side I would type the syllabus ka koi bhi topic ya fir whatever is important in terms of the previous year questions. I would research on it for good half an hour.
Okay.
Then my notes on the left side I would make from newspaper articles. So my answers might have been radically different from what people might have written. So toppers copies में जो base material मुझे मिला वो I definitely had. Apart from that, what I had done from that Google search and bringing all of that together, I think that was very through paper 2. Yes, but 2A, which is about people who have PSI, I would know. Comparative politics and a bit of IR also in terms of current has entered, the periphery, if you will, of part A of paper 2, because there were a lot of questions which were very current and should have been in paper 2 ka part B. So having that understanding of dynamism in paper 2 ka part A also is very, very important, because when you're reading static, if you are not connecting that with, say, whatever the current happenings of, say, MC 12, 13, 14 are of WTO, if you're not, going over the importance of Cold War and the dimensions it is unfolding in, say, the Russia-Ukraine theater at the moment, then in Israel's theater, all of that will come only when you read the current happenings in context of the statics that you're reading. So that also, I think, was a differentiator.
Was important also. Okay, so you've given us really good points for the optional also. We'll try to move towards your interview marks, because I happen to see the scorecard and your marks are 206 in interview, which is a great score. Now let's know that how did you exactly start, and right from that DAF filling to DAF discussion, and then preparing, reading multiple newspapers, then various parts of your own personality, right? So how did it go? What did you exactly do?
So for the interview part, the moment your mains ends to the moment the result for mains comes, you don't really know where you are in life
Hmm.
because things are in such a rigmarole around you. In my case, it was the same. One thing in hindsight that I did not leave again was newspapers.
Okay.
I went at it, and I also realized after mains that my reading was not sufficient. So that is also something I had gone after post mains. I opened all sorts of books. I went through them. I went through reports, ARCs, etc. Um, and tribal related reports, the bar commission, etc. So I went through a lot of things after that, thinking that next year or maybe this year, if the result is positive, I would definitely have the avenue. And apart from that, also I really wanted to understand why exactly are we studying so much, because again, when you're writing answers during mains, you realize अरे ये भी चीजें इतनी सारी हैं जो हमें नहीं पता है, हम समझ गए हैं उसके बारे में, like we know of it, but वो समझ नहीं आई है हमें. You want to understand it. I don't know. I think most people have that post means. I had it personally. So I went after it. I read about the work of Seva in Gujarat, and just these very tiny grassroots movements. Then why is the Honorable Prime Minister going after cooperatives so heavily and mightily? Understanding why rural credit is so important at this point of time, and that too on a microcosm of women's vulnerability, and that index being reduced in our case, in India's case. So all of that I did post mains. That really helped. That is the first point. Secondly, newspaper, as I told you from the very start, my parents have ingrained in me, and I think you just end up enjoying it because you're able to converse better with people. Secondly was that. Thirdly, I've been an avid debater.
Okay.
So I think it took me some time, around 20 to 25 days post the result, to bring that Xenia out. She did eventually come out before the exam, but not the debater, the communicator. Let me change that. And the fourth thing was getting the right guidance. So I went to 2 to 3 very seasoned, I would say, veterans of the interview guidance arena, right? And one of them was actually Ravindran sir, and also had the good sense to talk to us, Samar sir also. And with Samar sir, I realized that I had a lot of things that I wanted to write on my DAF, and a few other mentors of mine, very close mentors, also suggested the same, that the less you write, the better it is. But write what you know will strike the best at what you really want from the interviewer's perspective to work for you. So having those conversations, that DAF discussion, understanding each and every point of your DAF becomes extremely important before you enter that room, because that is a controllable.
Yes.
If that is where you mess up, so there are a lot of uncontrollables in the interview room. When you go to the personality test, you realize that this is a controllable. You cannot afford to mess this up. So after a few shaded experiences, if you will, in my mock interviews and after the discussions of my DAF, I realized that this is a controllable that I really need to work on. Secondly, when it comes to mock interviews, of course they're important.
How helpful have they been for you?
Yes, let me give you a really good answer on that. And something that I really want the aspirants to learn from my experience, at least.
Okay.
Mock interviews have the word mock attached to it for a reason, so don't end up taking them too seriously. Use them as experiential gainers, if you will, in the sense that हर चीज में every panel member who is sitting on any mock has some sort of experience, much better than yours. Pick from that. Don't let it hurt your personality unnecessarily, because it is a personality test of your personality and not the panel members you meet in the mock interviews. They can have their personalities, they can have all sorts of halabaloo. You don't need to imitate them just because you want to perhaps become like them.
Okay.
You need to create that differentiation, because ultimately if you change yourself in those 1, 2, 3, however many months you get, you are the one who's going to be at a loss in that interview room. Because when I remember when I entered the room, the only person inside was Xenia, and that to the one who was existing during mains. So beech mein any decor, any festoon I had tried to put on myself, all of that was ripped off by me only, nobody else. In that stress, in that environment, I don't know what it is about it. It just goes away. So don't try to change yourself. Secondly, in terms of mock interviews, something that I had been told earlier, I did not really, pay attention to, was that go to the right institutes, go to institutes you've actually heard of.
Okay.
Don't go to random places. So one of my very first interviews, in fact, were my first mock interview. Um, I did not know the name of the academy. I just saw कि अच्छा there are so and so people. मतलब in terms of services, and I was like, ठीक है, let's go. What is the problem, right? So I went there, but in terms of accountability, in terms of transparency, in terms of all the kind of things that you would expect from, a reputed institute, I got nothing of the sort, even after my result had come out. So take the feedback, take it positively, use it in your stride, but don't let it break you.
Okay.
Right? Most of them don't do that, because I remember in my mock interview at Bajiram and Ravi, there were one or two questions that I should not have missed from my very basic understanding of polity itself, right?
Okay.
Which I used to pride myself on. But they very humbly told me that, Zinia, you have 10 days. Just go through it once. Baki sab sahi hai. You are overthinking this because they will ask you only conceptual questions. I was very scared that they will pinpoint things, and then it will be, which article is for, I don't know, CAG, wo to khair pata hi hai sab to 148. But just in general, they told me very nicely that everything is going fine, and just do one or two things, and budget aane wala tha mere interview ke agle din hi. So those tiny little things, you have to take those very personally ki ye kyun nahi hua, but don't change your personality.
Okay. So this is what.
That is the baseline of it all. Again, I say all of this in retrospect. उस time मुझे भी लग रहा था, but you cannot change your personality. It is just not going to help. What you can do is gain conceptual clarity, and interview in itself, sitting for it, I'm sure everybody who has had the pleasure of attending one would know. It changes you. The way you view the world, the way you view your background. I learned so much about Delhi, about my home state Haryana, about my parents. Then मेरे ancestral roots जो एकदम खेतों के अंदर हैं, उनको समझा मैंने. Then I went back to where I come from. I went back to my schools, the long list that I've had. I have had the pleasure to study in. All of that really comes and assembles you as a human being. Marks bhi hain, very important. I'm not saying all of us are running behind it. But it also chisels you as a person. So take it in that stride as well. And again, don't change your personality.
Okay. So you have given us a number of points, the do's and the don'ts. And I hope that it will help the students. Now I would like to ask you that sometimes we really get stressed out, right, while preparing, and also when we see certain failures, perhaps at the very initial stage at times. Then how did you manage all that? How were you, what kept you going, and what kept you enthusiastic throughout the journey? So please share that.
As I mentioned, the first thing was having your motivations clear. Second, this question somebody had suggested to me while I was working was, 10 years down the line, where do you see yourself? That was a eureka moment, I think, that you mentioned in the starting. Yes. So I knew that where I was perhaps wouldn't be where I would want to be 10 years later. You can serve anywhere in this country. As long as you're paying taxes, you are serving. As long as, you're working in an NGO, definitely you're serving. There's a lot of places to serve, but you need to choose, again, that difference between satisficing and satisfying. So that should be very clear to you, I think. Once all of that is clear to you, then become, I wouldn't want to call it Sisyphean endeavor, क्योंकि वो तो continuous चलता है. But शुरू का ऐसा लगना ज़रूरी है, because that is when you start grilling yourself. You really need to push forward. If somebody around me is doing so well, if they are studying 10 to 11 to 12, sometimes 14 hours, you don't need to do that. But even 9 hours, if somebody is putting, you are not doing that. That is not going to work out. Fourth, when my stress started peaking was especially in December of 23. I realized that I was doing things very wrong. So that is when I took a very good step, which was I completely, cleaned out my Telegram.
Okay.
Only 2 to 3 people who I knew were very, very good friends, and also very, very important for my preparation as well. Those two things. I removed YouTube from my phone completely. So if I had to view something once a week, I would open it on my laptop itself. Apart from that, no Instagram, no Facebook, nothing. LinkedIn I had to keep because of my professional life. So only that existed. You need to take such steps. These seem very giant for the first 5 to 10 days because you get those withdrawal symptoms. But I think in my case at least, and in most cases, it just focuses you completely in terms of where you really need to be pushing forward. so you don't have that extraneous stimulation continuously. So for me that was important. uh, Apart from that, I think I kept myself extremely busy. So I've been that way since, I would say, the later half of my school itself. I always like to dip my toe in a lot of different things and just keep going at it. The more you diversify yourself, the better I think you become. And in this case, an added advantage is that you kind of don't focus on the unpredictability of the exam, which is what really gets to you. I think the why behind the stress is the unpredictability.
Yes.
The second is self doubt. So we'll come to the self doubt, but the first one is keep yourself busy. So when I started realizing before pre that, okay, I need to do something, I feel like I have that 1 hour extra perhaps in the day, I decided to get a PG diploma in environmental sciences.
Oh.
Completely out of my realm. Second, I decided to work with the UNEP part time, not something, and on voluntary basis itself. So I kept, I was writing documentation, I was doing all sorts of things. I also had the pleasure from UNEP side itself to visit certain conferences, learn from so many people from diverse backgrounds. Since I had studied political science and I had that interface in also administration and management, I worked at IAPS, which is political science ka काफी बड़ा institution for students across the globe.
Okay.
So I did that also. I kept doing a lot of things.
You kept yourself busy, occupied with
Yes.
so many things.
And this I did only for the sole reason that, culturing myself towards different things. And second most important thing is that, during the exam, you become very cut off. You isolate yourself very massively. The world keeps moving forward. वही है ना, नदियाँ चले चले रे धारा, तुमको चलना होगा. तो वो चलना होगा के लिए ही you need to keep yourself at the helm of affairs. So you might not be working, but you need to skill yourself, you need to upskill yourself, you need to reskill yourself after say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7, 8 years of spending time in the UPSC arena. So continuously keeping that going on the side also increases your employability quotient. So if, for instance, God forbid, if things don't work out, you need to have a backup plan. For me, it was very important to have those options open so that I still have the ability and privilege to have a choice after not perhaps clearing the exam, which is a very big possibility in all cases. Some of us become lucky, some of us don't. So I wanted to keep that open. So employability quotient aage badhta hai. You keep yourself busy. Self-doubt decreases because again you become confident that, hey, I'm capable of doing so many things all at once. So again, this is in hindsight. It all looks good and fancy. But I think it really helps you manage your stress as well. So I think all of this and then yoga and meditation, very important. I became a very big fan of walks in the past 2 years. So I think all of this, find what you like to do. I like looking at the sky. I have all sorts of pictures. I like to philosophize a lot. So if I'm traveling on the train, the clink and clank, I'll philosophize on that and write an entire poem on it. So these things just keep you very calm and grounded in terms of your mental, monkey brain. So I think all of this in terms of stress management helps.
Manage your stress. Okay, that's great. So I think we've discussed a lot about the entire journey of yours. We've also, got to know you as a person now, what personality you are. So it was really good. I would ask you if you would like to share something to the aspirants, some piece of advice that you would like to give so that it helps them prepare better and manage entire journey in an even better way. So could you please give a message to our aspirants?
Sure. I think the very first thing that you need to do, as I've mentioned time and again, is have your motivations clear. Secondly, there is no shortcut to success. I think in my case at least, hard work was very, very crucial. The more you pinch yourself towards working harder, the better it is. I found a lot of stimulations for this. Well, it was competition around me, or looking at other people in the same place, or looking at where I would have been had I taken the plunge towards the different career options I had opened for myself after college. All of that really helps. Thirdly, I think most people discount previous year questions a lot. that is extremely important to focus on, especially in actually in all three stages, including the interview. There's a lot of transcripts as well, right? So in prelims, mains, and interview, previous year questions become super important, and you templatize on them and then create your answers. In fact, a lot of times when you're writing your answers in mains itself, you go back to previous year questions, your mind goes back, and you write those as points as well. So keep doing that also. An example that comes to mind is social audit. Apart from that, sometimes the world feels dingy. In fact, most of the times during preparation, it feels dingy. And the people who make it are just like you. I am just like you. Uh, the difference is not very much, but it is just that some people choose not to give up. It is important to know when to give up if the trajectory has become too long, but it is also important to have faith in yourself even if you don't make it. And it is important to stay grounded in all circumstances, whether you make it or you don't make it, right? Apart from that, I think I did not have any foundation course that I had taken. And this is also a very big myth that a lot of people keep asking me, and a few of my friends who've made it too. It is very important to have your own substantial understanding. There is a lot of resources on Telegram, there's a lot of resources everywhere. The only differentiator is that you are the one ultimately who has to read the book. If you have read the book, if you've read Lakshmikant 30, 40, 50 times, you've made iterative understanding of it. If you made that for Spectrum or whatever it is that the basic sources are, especially the NCRTs, you will be there. So if you are able to make that foundation for yourself, if you're able to use the internet resources properly, you can study even while sitting at home. Keep all of that in mind, and just know that everything is just a push away. If you're able to push yourself to wake up at 5 a.m. or stay late, or stay awake late till 2 a.m., if you're able to put in that 2 extra hours that nobody else is, if you're able to do the smart work of going through previous year questions first and then solving mocks, all of that is going to accumulate, and that compoundedly is going to yield results if the God Almighty supports you in the endeavor, right? So I think that is my message to everybody, that push forward and take the lead.
Okay, thank you so much, Zinia. It was lovely talking to you, and all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Okay.